Have you ever felt alone in a room full of people? That strange emptiness that settles in your chest, like a whisper saying, "You don't belong here." Now imagine that feeling lasting not just for a moment, but for days, weeks, or even years. For millions of older adults, this isn't hypothetical, it's real life. Today we're exploring a powerful, often overlooked truth. Loneliness is more dangerous than smoking. That may sound dramatic, but the science is staggering. In fact, multiple studies now confirm that prolonged loneliness can increase the risk of early death more than obesity, lack of exercise, or even a pack-a-day smoking habit. So how does something as invisible as loneliness wreak such havoc on our physical and mental health? What happens inside our bodies when our hearts feel disconnected? And most importantly, what can we do about it? In the next 20 minutes, we'll walk through the real science behind loneliness, how it quietly sabotages the health of seniors, and the 7-step roadmap to reverse it, starting today. Let's begin with understanding what loneliness actually is. What loneliness really means, more than just being alone. Contrary to what most people think, loneliness isn't the same as solitude. Some people live alone and feel full of life and connection. Others are surrounded by family and still feel profoundly isolated. So what is loneliness really? It's the gap, the emotional distance between the connection you want and what you actually feel. Psychologists call this perceived social isolation. It's a subjective experience. And that's what makes it so dangerous. It's invisible. You can't always see it. Even the person feeling it may not be able to put it into words. Imagine this. A widowed grandfather who used to cook Sunday meals for his children and grandchildren now spends most weekends alone. His phone doesn't ring much anymore. He says he's fine. But deep inside there's a quiet ache, a longing for shared laughter. For someone to notice he hasn't left the house in 3 days. That's loneliness. It's not just sadness. It's not just boredom. It's the feeling of being emotionally and socially cut off from purpose, from community, from love. And unfortunately, it's common. In fact, 1 in 3 adults over 60 report feeling lonely regularly. After retirement, after losing a spouse, or moving into assisted living, those numbers climb even higher. What loneliness does to the body, the stress. You can't see. You might think loneliness only affects emotions, but the truth is it changes your biology. Let's talk science. When you feel lonely over time, your body begins to perceive the world as unsafe. This triggers a stress response, even if there's no real danger. Your brain tells your adrenal glands to release cortisol, the primary stress hormone. Cortisol is useful in emergencies, but when it's constantly elevated, it becomes toxic. Chronic loneliness leads to 1. Elevated blood pressure, 2. Increased inflammation, 3. Suppressed immune function, 4. Slower wound healing, 5. Higher risk of stroke, heart attack, and even certain cancers. In a Harvard study, researchers found that lonely people had a 26% higher risk of early death. Not because of smoking or bad diet or lack of exercise, but because of loneliness alone. And it doesn't stop there. The gut, often called the second brain, is impacted too. Loneliness can alter gut bacteria, leading to digestive issues, reduced nutrient absorption, and even mood disturbances. Worse yet, lonely individuals are less likely to take their medications correctly, eat balanced meals, or stay physically active. Loneliness doesn't just drain your spirit, it starts to dismantle your health, one system at a time. The brain on loneliness, cognitive decline, and emotional strain. Now let's turn to the brain. When someone is chronically lonely, the brain begins to operate differently. Studies using MRI scans show changes in the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, and the hippocampus, areas involved in memory, decision-making, and emotional regulation. This means that prolonged loneliness can 1. increase risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. 2. Cause memory loss. 3. Disrupt focus and decision-making. 4. Increase likelihood of depression and anxiety. 5. Reduce emotional regulation. 6. Impair sleep quality. Why does this happen? Because the brain thrives on connection. Social interaction stimulates neural pathways. Conversations, eye contact, laughter, even shared silence can strengthen brain function. Without that stimulation, the brain begins to dim, like a light fading slowly. In one study, lonely seniors were 50% more likely to develop cognitive decline over a 10-year period compared to those who stayed socially engaged. There's also the emotional side. Lonely people often become more sensitive to rejection. They may overinterpret neutral expressions as negative, reinforcing their belief that they're not wanted. And because they feel misunderstood, they withdraw even further, leading to a destructive feedback loop of isolation. The irony? The more lonely we feel, the harder it becomes to reach out. And the more we fail to reach out, the lonelier we become. More dangerous than smoking. What the research really says, the phrase "loneliness is as dangerous as smoking" isn't just a dramatic headline. It comes from real research. In fact, multiple large-scale studies support it. One of the most well-known is a meta-analysis by psychologist Julianne Holt-Lundstad, published in 2010. She and her team analyzed data from 148 studies involving over 300,000 people. The conclusion? People with strong social connections had a 50% greater chance of survival over time than those who were isolated. That's a greater survival impact than not smoking, than exercising, than maintaining a healthy weight. In another study, Holt-Lundstad found that loneliness and social isolation were comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day in terms of their effect on mortality. Think about that. If someone told you your parent or grandparent was smoking 15 cigarettes a day, you'd probably panic. You'd rush to help. But if that same person is sitting quietly in a room, lonely, unseen and disconnected, we often don't realize the danger. Loneliness doesn't have a smell. It doesn't leave yellow teeth or shortness of breath. But it is killing people slowly and silently. Why are older adults at higher risk? So why does loneliness hit older adults the hardest? Let's break it down. First, retirement. While it's often seen as a reward after decades of work, retirement also removes one of the most consistent sources of daily social contact: co-workers, routine, purpose. Second, loss of spouse or close friends. Grief brings a deep emotional hole, and with it often comes an unintended social withdrawal. The person who used to go to family dinners, attend church or play cards may now stay home. Third, mobility and health limitations. When someone has trouble walking, hearing or seeing, they're less likely to attend events or engage with others. Even going to the grocery store can feel like a challenge. Fourth, technological barriers. While younger generations maintain relationships through video calls, social media and texting, many older adults don't feel confident using these tools. So when in-person visits stop, the connection often ends altogether. And finally, cultural attitudes toward aging. In many Western societies, aging is feared or ignored. Seniors are often seen as fragile, outdated or dependent. They're put in nursing homes, left out of conversations and treated like burdens. In contrast, many long-lived cultures, like those in Okinawa, Sardinia or Nicoya, treat elders as the wisdom keepers. They eat together, work together, laugh together. In those places, loneliness is rare. The chain reaction of loneliness, a downward spiral. Loneliness doesn't arrive with a loud bang. It creeps in like a slow fog, and once it's settled, it causes a chain reaction. Let's walk through what that looks like. A senior stops attending Sunday service after a fall makes walking difficult. Then they stop calling friends. Maybe they don't want to be a burden. Their appetite fades. They skip lunch. They stop their morning walks. Their sleep gets disturbed. They wake up tired. They forget a pill. They stop showering. Soon, every day feels the same, grey, quiet and heavy. This is how loneliness snowballs into physical illness. 1. Less movement is reduced muscle mass, bone density loss, joint pain. 2. Poor nutrition equals weight loss or gain, vitamin deficiencies. 3. Disrupted sleep equals memory issues, low mood. 4. Skipped medication equals uncontrolled chronic conditions. 5. Low motivation equals no doctor visits, missed early signs of serious illness. And emotionally, 1. Isolation leads to rumination. The mind circles in negative thoughts. 2. Guilt sets in. I should reach out, but they're busy. 3. Shame follows. No one cares anyway. 4. Then fear. I don't want to grow old like this. 5. Eventually, numbness. This spiral is rarely visible. It often gets mistaken for normal aging. But it's not normal. It's preventable suffering. And it matters, because loneliness doesn't just make life harder, it makes life shorter. Recognizing the signs. What loneliness looks like in real life. One of the greatest dangers of loneliness is that it hides in plain sight. People rarely say, "I'm lonely." Instead, it shows up in subtle ways. Here are some of the common signs to watch for, especially in older adults. Maybe they stop attending regular activities like church, book club, or bingo night. 2. They seem to talk more about the past than the present, constantly reminiscing but avoiding current events. 3. They eat less or gain weight unexpectedly. 3. Meals become a chore. 4. They sleep too much or can't sleep at all. 4. They lie awake at night and nap all day. 5. They might repeat stories or forget recent conversations, even if they used to have a sharp memory. 6. Their grooming habits change. 6. Maybe they stop bathing, wearing clean clothes, or brushing their teeth. 7. Their energy drops. 7. They move slowly with less purpose. And perhaps the most heartbreaking sign, they say things like, "I don't want to be a burden. Nobody would notice if I was gone. It's too late for me to change anything." Let's be clear. These aren't just symptoms of getting old. They are red flags. Red flags waving for help. Often just one person reaching out can make a difference. One voice saying, "You matter. I see you. Let's talk." What can we do? The 7 connection habits that save lives. Here's the good news. Loneliness may be deadly, but it's also treatable. And it doesn't require medication, just human effort. Let's walk through 7 daily connection habits that can protect seniors from the health toll of isolation. A 2-minute phone call in the morning makes a massive emotional difference. Knowing someone is out there, thinking of you as you start your day, sets the tone for everything else. Eye contact, a hand on the shoulder, a smile during coffee. These small, in-person moments carry deep meaning. Presence matters more than perfection. Whether it's family dinner once a week or lunch at a community center, eating together reduces anxiety, improves digestion, and builds emotional bonds. Invite seniors to teach something. Crochet, history, cooking, storytelling. Feeling needed is essential to feeling alive. Help them navigate Zoom, FaceTime, or WhatsApp. Don't just install the app. Practice using it together. It's not about the tool, it's about the comfort. Walk the dog together. Garden together. Go for groceries together. Natural movement plus conversation equal magic. Put social touch points on the calendar. Loneliness grows in uncertainty. Connection grows with consistency. Even 1 or 2 of these habits can interrupt the spiral of loneliness. You don't have to fix everything, you just have to show up. The future we can build together. Let's step back for a moment. Imagine a world where no senior dies without someone holding their hand, where every grandmother gets a birthday card, where every grandfather has someone asking for advice, where old doesn't mean forgotten, but honored. This isn't fantasy. This is what long-lived cultures already do. In Okinawa, Japan, Elders are part of moai, small social groups that support each other for life. In Sardinia, Italy, elders live near or with extended family. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, the day starts and ends with neighbors saying buenos dias and buenas noches. In Loma Linda, California, Adventist communities gather weekly to rest, connect, and worship together. In these places, aging isn't something to fight, it's something to embrace. And people don't just live longer, they live better. You don't have to move across the globe to experience this. You just have to create it where you are. Include elders in conversations. Ask their stories. Take their advice. Share meals. Invite them into your everyday life. Build a culture of connection, not just for them, but for all of us. Because one day you and I will be the ones with graying hair, slower steps, and stories to tell. And when that day comes, we'll need someone to reach back and say, I'm here. You're not alone. Healing the nervous system, the physiology of connection. Let's go a bit deeper into the nervous system. Because loneliness doesn't just hurt your emotions. It affects your biology on a cellular level. When you're in regular social contact, your parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest and repair, is active. Your heart rate slows. Your digestion improves. Your immune system strengthens. But when you feel chronically lonely, the sympathetic nervous system, the stress response, dominates. That means 1. Faster heart rate. 2. Shallow breathing. 3. Poor digestion. 4. Suppressed immune response. 5. High cortisol. Now imagine this stress state continuing for weeks or years. This is why lonely people tend to get sick more often and recover more slowly. But the good news is, connection reverses these patterns. Even a 10-minute conversation with a trusted friend can lower heart rate and blood pressure. Laughter with a grandchild can release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which calms the brain. A long hug held for 20 seconds or more can actually reset the nervous system. So when we say connection is medicine, it's not a metaphor. It's real, and it's measurable. Policy, culture, and responsibility. Whose job is it to solve this? Now here's a bigger question. Who is responsible for fixing loneliness? Is it the individual? Should every senior just try harder to stay social? Is it the government? Should healthcare systems fund community programs, technology access, or in-home visitation? Is it society? Should workplaces, families, and neighborhoods be more inclusive and multi-generational? The answer is all of the above. At the individual level, we must be proactive. Reach out. Attend events. Try something new, even if it's uncomfortable. At the family level, we must prioritize presence. Call the elder in your family. Include them in celebrations. Ask how they're really doing. At the community level, we need programs. 1. Transportation services for seniors. 2. Tech literacy workshops. 3. Intergenerational community centers. 4. Faith-based outreach programs. 5. Local check-in systems. At the national level, we need awareness campaigns, like we did with smoking and seatbelts. Let's normalize talking about loneliness. Let's measure it during doctor visits. Let's treat it like the health risk it is. This is everyone's job, because everyone is aging, and everyone is vulnerable eventually. The final message: connection is our collective cure. Let's end with a vision. Imagine your neighborhood. It's quiet, cold. In one house, an 82-year-old woman is watching the same TV rerun for the 4th time. She hasn't spoken to anyone all day. She forgot to eat lunch, and her only plan for the weekend is laundry. Now imagine she gets a knock on the door. A neighbor brings cookies or just says hello. Later that day, her daughter calls. Tomorrow, she has lunch with her church group. Next week, she helps her granddaughter bake a cake. That's not fantasy. That's possible. And for her, it could mean not just living longer, but living better. Loneliness is real. It's painful. And yes, it can be more dangerous than smoking, but it's also reversible. And the antidote doesn't cost money. It costs attention, intention, compassion, So let today be the day you choose to connect. 1. Call someone. 2. Invite someone. 3. Smile at a stranger. 4. Ask a story. 5. Listen fully. Because what cures loneliness isn't just presence, it's love. Thank you for watching this episode of Human Health Hub. If this message resonated with you, please like the video, share it with someone you love, leave a comment. Your story may help someone else. And subscribe for more science-backed, heart-centered health content. Together, we can build a world where no one has to age alone. Stay connected and stay well.